Hello, Formula One fans, and welcome to our new podcast. This is F1 in Focus. We are the only Formula One podcast where a Dutchie and an Englishman can very much get along in the world of Formula One, while having civil discussions, race recaps, and of course, discussing race food and beverages. On our first show, we'll discuss silly season, which started off, of course, with Sebastian Vettel leaving, our Spa expectations, and so much more. My name is John, and I am joined on the first episode with my to-be steadily hosted. The show is none other than the man with the best hair in the biz. It's James Hazel. Hey, James.
Hiya, cheers for having me on. Thank you.
No, mate. It's our show now.
Yeah.
It's different, though, because I've been doing a lot of shows and never talked about Formula One on air, so that's going to be cool.
Yeah, it's big fun, yeah.
And the gag reel, which will probably be releasing somewhere else, will show that this is definitely something I've done before, but not about Formula One, because I'm tending to do it with another game. Anyways, James, for people that don't know us, can you first introduce yourself to the world of Formula One?
My name is James. I've been a Formula One fan for a very long time. Something you might not even know about me, John, is that probably my very first memory is F1 related. And that is Nigel Mansell's Adelaide tyre blowout that cost him the championship. And for a very long time, I assumed that happened when I was about 8 or 9 years old because of how vividly I can remember it. But I think I was about 3 or 2. So,
It's just something about your fondness of Formula One that focus.
Well, yeah. So members of my family were Formula One fans, and I just remember my dad jumping up and just like sheer disappointment in the room because obviously that cost him the championship that year. But he won it later on anyway, so it's all good.
Yeah, he made up for that at least, right? Well, it says also something about your age, though.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
No, it's good.
The better, yeah.
Yeah. No, so well, let me introduce myself. My name is John, and I've been very active in other sports, but never in Formula One. So I thought, why not make a podcast actually about Formula One? Something we've been discussing. We've been discussing that for years, James, following in races, discussing rumors, the silly season, everything Formula One related. And whilst I'm more of a nerd, tracking every single detail, every single lap on different screens, you're more like the voice of reason whenever we have a discussion.
I don't have like race control in my living room or anything like that. I just watch the one feed,
which is probably the way most people experience Formula One. But
so,
like I said, I'm pretty much of a nerd. So why did we start this podcast? One, I really wanted to have an outlet for all things Formula One. And since I'm a Dutchie, I'm also, of course, a Max Verstappen fan. I won't deny that. And when I'm on social media and very active about Formula One at times, I get a lot of hate being a Max Verstappen fan from much of the other side of the pond, so to speak. Except for you.
I can't speak for that crowd or defend that crowd because I don't agree with it, to be honest. Like,
it goes the other way around as well, though.
Yeah,
so I can say the same for our.
I'm not a fan of the hate between any fan base, really. But
yeah, exactly. And so we said, you know what? Let's start with civil discussions between the two parties. And of course, add some humor, and I think just keep you up to date with everything Formula One as well. So that's why we start F1 in review. And of course, a little bit of advertisement before we start. If you look in review on podcasts, you'll probably find some other podcasts which I've been working on. So we'll just setting up the trend there. James, silly season has started, mate. And it really started off well.
Yeah. Vettel announcing retirement, not entirely a shock, but the chain of events that set off, I don't think anyone could have predicted. Could
have made good money if you did so.
Well, yeah, it's a bit sad to see Seb go, really, because it's been a while since he had his 4 championships in a row, but obviously he's been a very prominent figure in the sport. At the same time, it's a shame to see him at the back of the grid where he is now with Aston Martin. So maybe it's for the best that he moves on, because there's no space for him in a top seat, is there?
No, I would have loved to see him at Red Bull, though. Of course, I'm a little bit biased, but it would make the story perfect. Start off there, get 4 championship, move on to Ferrari, not make it there. We'll probably go into Ferrari in another episode, I guess, when it's actually race time again.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting back to Red Bull, I would love to see him next instead of Perez, honestly. Although Perez has been performing as expected, I guess, or as hoped for Max. So
maybe at the start of the season, but he's kind of tailed off a bit the last few races, hasn't he?
Oh, he signed a new contract. Then pressure's off.
He's kind of got form for that. When the money's on the line, he races great, and then the minute he signs, he's a little bit slower.
Yeah, that also means we never have Sergio Perez on this podcast, but I will.
No.
The time we grow that large, he's probably retired anyways, right?
Yeah.
But stop leaving his...
Come on and defend himself.
No, I mean, let's talk about Perez for a second. I think he's a great driver on one-off.
Yeah.
He's just not consistent enough.
Definitely, yeah. I wasn't a huge fan of him during his Force India days with the constant run-ins with Ocon. I mean, it kind of goes both ways, but at the same time, your teammates, you should be racing better than that. There was far too many incidents between the two of them.
Made it interesting, though.
It did, yeah. And he was great at Sauber. He was all right at McLaren. I think they felt like they had some loyalties to him, didn't they? And they tried to secure him a seat when he had to go. But good driver. But like I said, he really seems to be at his best when the money's on the line. And once he's signed the dotted line, he just seems to slow down a little bit for whatever reason. Yeah. But these last few races, in particular, have just been kind of dire for him, to be honest.
Everything after Monaco was just...
There is no reason for him not to be on the podium at any given race, as far as I'm concerned, in that Red Bull.
If Max wins 10 races before the silly season starts, Perez should at least have an aim for 3 or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we said we were going to go into Ferrari at another point, but the way Ferrari keeps blundering, like there is always a space on the podium, even if they have the fastest car for the weekend, and that space on the podium should be for Perez.
But then we take the Hungary Grand Prix where he qualified 11th.
Yeah,
it's like
that's part of the problem as well. Qualifying, like there is no excuse for that, really.
Coming back to Seb Vettel, he said, well, my issue is not that the car is that bad or we lack race pace, but the qualifiers are so bad that we always have to fight all the way from the back and then you scrape some points together.
Yeah.
So it goes to Paris, though.
Yeah.
Might be the only reason Ferrari actually scores still points that they qualify so high now.
Well, yeah. Ferrari really should be, I mean... What's the points difference between Mercedes and Red Bull at the moment in the Constructors' Championship? Do you know?
That's a great question. I've actually had the numbers in front of me, but there's a lot. I'll check while we take it, but they won't make it, right?
No. But, sorry, did I say Red Bull? I mean Ferrari and...
and Mercedes.
And Mercedes. That gap should be smaller than it is if Perez was stealing the points from Ferrari that he should be doing. Which he's just not doing consistently enough, certainly the last few races.
Yeah, so Red Bull has 431 points at this stage of the game, Ferrari 334, with Merck having 304. So, it's just 30-point difference. But it shows something about the teams, though, because I do think that if you look back, Mercedes has been very consistent, even with a shit box, right?
Yeah, Mercedes have got plenty of championship experience, though. They know how to race a car and how to strategize for a race. And I think this is where Ferrari's kind of showing that they've not really been in the game for so long that when the pressure's on, the pot's kind of boiling a bit there, I think.
A bit, yeah, just a bit.
Yeah.
They start off so well. It's a shame though, because everyone knows by now I'm a Max Verstappen fan, so I'm a Red Bull fan. So basically, I don't mind too much, right? This season, right? It's a relief actually having a good season and not having to be nervous every single race like we had last year.
Yeah.
I think I aged 10 years in 1 year in the 21 season. So this season is pretty relaxed for me. But it's also a shame to see, because the last time, and we won't talk about Hungary too much though, but when they switched to hards, we both were like, what are they doing?
What? Yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll try not to go into this too much, I guess.
But yeah, we'll see if that changes in Spa, because we'll talk about Spa in a moment, but I don't think that changed too much. But let's go back to the topic we were on.
Sorry, yeah.
We were talking about Sepp Vettel retiring. I think we both agreed it was a shame, but his timing was a bit particular. Maybe those 2 days before the last race of the summer season.
Yeah. And what that kicked off afterwards is just... This is probably one of the strangest and most hilarious funny seasons we've had in probably quite a while, to be honest. Especially with how that's triggered off the chain of events that's involving Piastri, obviously.
Yeah.
And the tweets.
So, and the tweets, which was amazing. So if you're new to Formula One, everyone's new to this podcast. What happened is on Wednesday, Sepp retired or announced his retirement. Of course, that Thursday and Friday was a bit awkward with Hungary Grand Prix, but everything was about Sepp. Max won the race from P10 to P1, which was actually a pretty cool Hungarian Grand Prix, which I don't think usually is very interesting. So I have to applaud that race at all. Then we thought, let's go take this holiday. And I actually went on holiday myself. And on Monday, we saw Fernando Alonso sign for Aston Martin. That was quick.
Taking Seb's old seat. That was very quick. And I've read a little bit about this. I don't know how true this is, but it seemed like it had something to do with Piastri's. He had some kind of clause in his contract that expired on that date.
Yeah, I don't know if that's confirmed.
I don't know.
So much rumors.
There's a lot of rumors going around, and it feels like everything's gone quiet after everything exploded. But it feels like maybe Alonso kind of purposefully played it maybe a little bit slow. Potentially, if that's true, we don't know. But
yeah, he's burning bridges, but that's not something new for Fernando.
Well, it's not really, no. But yeah.
Let's talk about memes, but that's part of the El Plan, of course.
Yeah. Well, he's in that stage of his career where he just doesn't have to care anymore, does he?
Has he ever been in a stage of a career where he just doesn't care?
Well, to be fair, he's got the talent to it kind of outweighs anything else. Like well, certainly in his prime, everyone wanted him regardless. So.
Definitely, and he's still quite honestly,
driver.
I'm a big fan of Fernando. Right? I mean, this probably could have been done a little bit more chic, but on the other side, Safnauer did want to get rid of him, and he was very publicly talking about him.
Well, there was problems. There was stuff about re-signing him, wasn't there? I don't know if these...
He wanted to sign for 2 years and not for 1 year, and then make room for Piastri.
Yeah, so he wasn't entirely happy with only being offered a 1-year contract, and that's probably caused him to leave, hasn't it?
It's fair, though, if you're in his age, and you still perform every week, because it's not like he's not performing.
Well, yeah.
He's honestly outperforming his teammate, although he...
Which race was it? He qualified P2?
Yeah. Was that in... Wasn't Austria, right?
Could have been. I don't know. This season's been a bit of a blur, especially because most of the focus just seems to be around Ferrari imploding. But yeah.
Well, it does. Yeah, like they make every race interesting this year. So
absolutely.
There's definitely that. But yeah, Fernando has been performing well, and I think people say, is it a downgrade or an upgrade going to Aston Martin? I think that's the thing. I think Alpine or the former Renault has the potential to be one of the top teams, with being, of course, a full-fledged company, right? Their own engine, they could go for it, but it's never been actually on par, or never been. Like, it's been like 2000 for the last time, 2002, I think, that they actually were doing pretty decent. And the second part is hilarious, and I still think this is the meme of the century for Formula One already. That they said, like an hour after Fernando announced his move to Aston Martin, they said we have how do you call it? Piastri is the driver for next season, which made perfectly sense, and everyone expected that, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
30 minutes later, Piastri tweets and put it on Instagram and everywhere, and to all press officers, you name it. You know what, guys? I don't know. I read that it's signed, but I didn't sign anything. I can confirm I'm not driving for Alpine in 2023.
Alpine tweeted without his consent.
Yeah. It's a brilliant way of wording it.
Yeah.
I could actually read Mark. I can actually see Mark Webber, which is his agent, of course, standing next to him.
Yeah.
Put in there consent. Put the word consent in there.
Yeah. And then it's gone quiet ever since.
They did not remove the tweet, but they haven't tweeted anymore.
No,
Alpine.
and it sounds like Alpine are maybe going to try and fight this. And then there's Ricciardo, who apparently has effectively a player option or a driver option for next year at McLaren.
Yes, because Piastri signed for McLaren.
Yeah. Well, yeah, has he?
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly. No, so the party that controls the contract for the FIA has confirmed that he has signed a contract by McLaren.
Right.
Allegedly so for reserve driver. But yeah, you're not going to get... I can't see Piastri saying I'm not going to drive for Alpine in a seat next season to be a reserve driver as McLaren.
No way, no. You just take a 1-year contract at Alpine and then try and move the following year, wouldn't you? If you've got an option to race for a year, you'd race.
So he's driving for McLaren next year.
Yeah, which begs the question: what's happening with Ricciardo?
This is
He's getting one fat check. We know that much.
Yeah, they have to pay 21 million if they want to buy off his contract, allegedly.
Plus, they'll need to compensate him as well. They're not just going to give him his year's fee, because he could just say, "Well, I could earn that driving for you." I feel like they'd have to pay him a little bit more than his contract to convince him to opt out. And obviously, he's going to be. I mean, where's he going to go? Alpine's got a seat, obviously, but where else is he going to go? He's going to be going to effectively a lesser team than McLaren, because McLaren are probably the 4th fastest car on the grid, aren't they?
Yeah, although he hasn't been performing all that well, so I think it sort of makes sense for McLaren to
100%. Yeah, you've got to
try to gamble on Piastri.
Yeah, you've got to take that risk, because Ricciardo he's nowhere compared to Norris, and if Norris is your benchmark for your car, you've got to try and take somebody else. I mean, there was a lot of talk, wasn't there, last year that he was having to take some time to adapt to the car, but now we've got completely new regulations this year that everyone's got to adapt to, and he's not
adapting.
Well, he's not, unfortunately. It's a shame, because I really like Ricciardo. I think he's a great driver. He did great for Red Bull. He did great for Renault. Really,
I think everyone likes Ricciardo.
Yeah,
and
he got the McLaren win, didn't he? Monza last year.
He did. So it's also a big, like, that wasn't even a year ago.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So it's also...
What's that, Monza? I'm saying Monza confidently, but now I'm doubting myself.
It was.
Okay, yes.
And so it feels weird, right? The only driver that actually won for you in the last couple of years. You're effectively terminating him.
Yeah.
And might even terminate his career.
Potentially.
Because I don't know if Ricciardo actually goes back to Alpine. Because of course he driven for... It would be...
I think they'd take him. If this is all going to play out the way that it seems that it's playing out, and they're not going to be able to keep Piastri through any kind of, clause in the contract saying he is our driver.
You can't, right?
Cancelling.
I mean, how would he perform?
Well, yeah, I think no, exactly. That's it. Like, you're forcing him into a place he doesn't want to be, and he's
give him 4 flats and then say, "Hey, why can't you drive this car?"
Yeah. So I think, I mean, who else is on the market that Alpine might be interested in taking?
Oh, I'll give you someone.
Latifi.
Well, he's going to be out as well, right?
Yeah.
Most likely now. They've said so much at Williams that they really don't need this money anymore. That I don't see his contract getting extended.
No, maybe
so that's not going to happen. So Alpine needs a driver.
Yep.
They've got one French driver. Why not aim to get a second one in that might be available? Play nice with Red Bull and get Gasly in.
Could do. There was rumours Gasly's got a clause in his contract, a performance clause for the team, so he might be able to get out. I'd forgotten about this actually. He's potentially another key moving part in all of this, isn't he? And I don't see Ricciardo going to AlphaTauri.
Get Ricciardo to Red Bull?
No, they can't. Well, I suppose they could. There's precedent for shuffling people down.
Exactly.
But would they take Ricciardo over Perez? I mean, Perez is playing nice.
No, you put Perez in AlphaTauri, you get Gasly to Alpine.
Yeah, but would they?
Would
they? I don't see them shuffling Perez down to make room for Ricciardo at all. Perez.
Max is basically running this team by now, right? And even Schumacher asking that team. So if he's fine with Perez as being second driver, they'll keep him.
And even, I mean, when Perez is performing, he is a team player still. Like he's had the team order a couple of times now, hasn't he, to move out of the way, and
he does.
He's been frustrated by it once or twice, and I think which race was it? He was very annoyed by his strategy because they put him on a weaker strategy.
Wasn't that in France? Honestly,
could have been. Max
was faster, right? Like 1.1 second of a lap faster or something.
He doesn't rock the boat. You're not going to have a Hamilton-Rosberg situation with Verstappen and Perez, because Perez is just not on the same level as Max Verstappen. There's not
but who is? So you got Lewis and Max, and then.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say.
They've shown the last couple of races that these two are still like by far the best drivers out there.
Absolutely, yeah. There's not many. Leclerc's probably.
He's got the talent for it.
I think he would be in that exact same league. Well, maybe not quite, because there has been some unforced errors, which you very rarely get from Lewis or Max. But
I think Leclerc has one issue, though. Like, if you look at Alonso, he takes care of himself, right?
Yeah.
If you look at Hamilton, he take care of himself. He's not too bothered about everything what's going on around him. He's very vocal about what he likes, what he doesn't like. He's very critical of his own performances. They both are, but they're also very critical of the team performances.
Yeah.
And they'll always be fair about it. If Max or Lewis makes a mistake, they say, I messed up. Lewis did in Austria, right? He said it was my bad. Shouldn't be happening. I'll get this fixed. If Max messes up, he'll joke about it, but he doesn't blame anyone else.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at, for example, Sainz has that quality to shape up, straight your back and go for it. Blame others if need be. Blame yourself if that's the issue. But always take care of yourself. Alonso has that. But I feel Leclerc just takes on everything the team says. And could be out of loyalty, gratefulness of being in that position, because of course he'd been brought into Ferrari very young.
Yep.
And he's got a lot of thank for, right? They gave him a great car.
Yeah.
But honestly, if you're in Hungary, I think that's what sort of put me on this path, is if you're in Hungary, you are asking for mediums. They will say, we'll put you on hard. You're just going to say, put me on mediums.
Yeah,
or just don't go in again for the last one.
Well, he shouldn't have, regardless of what tire he was going to go on, he shouldn't have pitted on the lap that he did. Like Ferrari responding to track position when the race had already kind of proven that overtaking was a possibility. And I know traditionally that track is not great for passing, but it was that race was a great demonstration that the regulations are working for following and being able to pass. So why they did what they did, I'll never know. But yeah, that's a great point. I mean, that hard tire decision, he should have been throwing all the toys out of the pram on that one, because that cost him the race. He had that pretty much in the bag, I think.
Yeah. And I get why Alpine does it, right? So Alonso did it as well. But they had to gamble. I get that one, right? But anyone else, like you saw Magnussen sliding on the back, like 2.5 seconds every lap, being put further back.
Yeah.
Then Alonso tried it, and he was also be pulled back at
Yeah.
like 1.8 or something. I wrote down in my notes by then. I like, if someone then tells you, you're gonna start on hard, while Pirelli says you don't want to go twice to this strategy as well. You as a driver can be vocal as well.
Yeah, I mean, Pirelli had basically said the hard tyre is just not an option for this track and this race. Like, it should just be softs and mediums.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then that's why my issue with Leclerc. I don't think if you put back on the Verstappen, Hamilton, I think Alonso's still part of that elite as well. Honestly, if you get the car, you can actually win. I'm pretty sure of it.
I don't think Alonso could win a championship now, regardless of whatever car he's in. Personally, that's my personal opinion. I'll probably get some stick for that, but I don't think he could win a championship now.
The thing is that is we won't ever see him in the situation again.
Well,
so
we will never see
say,
that.
Right?
But I think if you put him against Max Verstappen or Lewis Hamilton now, it'd be a good fight. But I don't see him winning the fight.
No, it could be. There's no.
If he's in a different
comparison anymore to
no, that's true. So if he's in a different team and the car, if he's in a situation like Mercedes where even just a couple of years ago and he's in that car, then he would win the championship because really they were that far ahead. It's pretty comfortable for them, but I think same machinery as Max or Lewis. I personally, I don't think he'd beat either of them.
No, I see your point. I think Sainz might be the only one there where I'm like, you know what? He's got that fire. He's got that attitude. He's got that insight as well.
He does, but he's not. Yeah, Ross.
He's been unlucky the last races, right?
He has been.
Like the strategy kicked his butt as well, the last one, and of course the one prior to that, his engine blew. Well, he was actually going to win that race as well. So
yeah, that was unfortunate. He had a really rough start to the season. I think that knocked his confidence quite a lot. Because Leclerc, it was very clear from race 1 and race 2 that Ferrari was in a position to fight for the championship this year and potentially win it. And he had some bad luck with his car on, it wasn't a great start to the season for him. And I think mentally he just wasn't in the right place for a while. That's how it came.
It's hard, right? I think this Ford race, his steering wheel broke. Yeah. Like on your track, that's.
Yeah.
I think on the outlap or something it broke and he just did right in okay.
Yeah, and in the meantime you're seeing like Leclerc doing great when Max's car wasn't his engine blew up or failed like the first 2 races, didn't it?
Yeah.
And everyone was immediately saying, "Well, congratulations, Leclerc, you've won it." Now look where we're at, but
that's how Formula 1 does. Right?
Exactly. That's the thing. You can't make those statements 2 races into a season. But
can you make it 10 races in a season or 11?
How many races have we had? Because I think it's Max's in the bag now. But I think Sainz was probably looking at that thinking, I'm falling behind for no reason. I can't afford any other, I can't afford any mistakes. I can't afford any more failures and DNFs or anything like that. And that just puts the pressure on, doesn't it? So.
Yeah. Do you see this World Championship having a different outcome than it currently is?
No, I don't think so. I think it's going to be Max, Leclerc. What are the standings? I might have to try and bring this up because I'm wondering if Hamilton's got a good chance of getting up to 3rd because the way Perez is driving at the moment.
Max is 258, Leclerc 178, Perez 173. That's just a 5-point difference though. And then there's Russell 158. Hamilton is 146, so he's a good 32 points behind.
32 behind Leclerc, yeah. So I
think be though.
I think Hamilton's going to finish 3rd or 4th in the championship. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I think
it's either in front of or behind Perez because I think the top 2 are locked in. I know the gap between Perez and Leclerc is very small at the moment, but Ferrari, well.
That's the issue, right? They keep saying no team orders, so there's no way of knowing that they will actually finish Leclerc ahead of Sainz in the coming races.
Well, that's true. They should have committed, I think. But I was going to say Ferrari can't keep making these mistakes, but they can, and they probably will. Unfortunately,
It's awful though, right? To say that out loud.
It's bad for the championship. I wanted to see a nice close championship this year between those two, and it's unfortunately not panned out that way. But
this is the team that won a race in the pit lane. Strategic champions, right? But now they come
when they did the pit stop on the final lap and crossed the checkered line in the pits. Yeah. They can't do that anymore, though, can they? I think
you can't. No, so they fixed that.
Changed the rules for that loophole. Yeah.
That showed how far that team has come.
Yeah,
but
quite.
Unluckily, not the right side of the coin. So yeah, that's so unfortunate, though.
Yeah,
would love to see it. Anyway, silly season's almost over. We still have that Renault seat. Thinking about that, though, this weekend we'll have Spa, right? Spa probably not returning, so it might be the last time we see Spa for a whole while. I think we both agree that sucks.
They can't do that. I can't believe they're doing that.
Oh, they are doing that probably, right?
I know, but Spa is like, it's one of the circuits you think of when you think of Formula One.
Might be the circuit for me.
Yeah, well, I think
you got Silverstone, of course.
Monaco,
Monaco was almost in the same boat this year as well. So
yeah, I think it's a shame about Spa. I really hope that they manage to sort out whatever the problems are with keeping that race on the calendar, because I don't want it to go. But what's the issue? Sorry,
it's also always money, right?
Money. Yeah,
they just can't buy themselves in as the rest of the new tracks could.
No, yeah, it's a shame.
It is. I'm very much looking forward to this race, though.
Yeah.
What I'm looking forward to even more probably is the Thursday press conference, because boy, I would not want to be in any.
You can guarantee Alonso is going to be in the drivers' press conference.
100%. Daniel Ricciardo probably as well, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they'd have Piastri in if they could.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing, though.
Yeah,
it is. How can you? Let me put this first one. How can you still be? If you're Daniel Ricciardo, you can still be motivated. Although you might curse everyone in your team when you arrive on Wednesday.
Ricciardo's got a point to prove. That's
exactly. So he's probably bound to go as fast as he can just to show everyone that they are wrong, right?
Yeah.
And guarantee a seat maybe for next season.
It'd be disappointing if that's what makes him actually drive faster, because then the question would be, well, why weren't you just driving like this for the rest of the previous races this season? But it's certainly motivation for him. Not that it would be lacking that, I don't think. But
no, I don't think that either, honestly. I think he's just it's different. He performed well with Red Bull.
Yeah, it was great at Red Bull.
The cars that drive the other way around, right, had a little more understeer and oversteer.
Yeah,
just don't go well for him. I think it's just a matter of feeling the car, and you can do with that on two things. You can try to tune the car, but they won't do that because he's not the fastest driver. So that's not the way it's going to be developed. Or you have to do it like Alonso and just toss your car around the corners and show everyone that still works, although it's not always as reliable. But that's the way to drive such a car.
Yeah, but I mean,
he's not that quality.
It's not even the car, is it? Look at what Norris is doing with it. He's having a great season.
That's true, but Norris has, of course, been. I'm pretty sure they are going. They've been developing the car according to Norris's set rules.
Probably.
I think that's the same with Red Bull, of course, right? Because Perez says they're not developing the car towards me. Yeah, but you're in qualifier. You're at least 5 tenths away from Max. So why would they develop the car towards you?
Exactly. Yeah, and I when you're at that level, I don't think you can use that for an excuse for being that much slower than your teammate.
Yeah.
Like, you should be able to just drive the car. Well,
you
can drive it. You just can't drive it fast enough.
I see that as Mercedes now, right? Russell and Hamilton aren't that far apart.
Exactly.
And that's how it should be, although we know how unfortunate that could
it can be. Yeah. Well, I think Ferrari, where did that come from? I think Hamilton's got the measure on Russell now, because obviously the start of the season there was a lot of playing around with setup and trying to resolve their issues, and now that they're not playing around as much and they've got the car somewhat figured out, Hamilton just seems to be not considerably quicker, I guess, but
Yeah, but
he is quicker than
consistently at least,
Yeah,
consistently
yeah.
quicker.
And Russell is also great for the team because where Hamilton might be finishing second or third, Russell's normally the car behind Hamilton, and that's what you want in a team.
Exactly. I think that's the big difference between all the teams currently. They are always close together. The Aston Martins are usually very close together. I think the Alpines are close together.
Yeah, uncomfortably so, I think, for Aston Martin sometimes.
Same goes for the Alpines, right? I
Yeah.
remember them fighting in Baku as well, but it's like
Yeah,
they at least kept it clean. And I think there's a big drop off in some of the teams between like Albon, who's got his new contract as well at Williams, by the way.
yeah,
It's like easily outperforming Latifi, of course.
yeah.
And I think that's shows that there's still drivers in there that, I mean, could be split or could be gone, and we won't really miss him unless personality actually applies, of course.
Yeah.
There's
The
one thing.
the problem with someone like, it's a bit harsh, I guess, but the problem with someone like Latifi having a drive is that it takes away a spot for someone that is going to be faster and deserves a spot. Where obviously
I think Nick de Vries should be there already
Yeah.
for 2-3 years, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And now it's like maybe he's too old, so he doesn't get a spot. I think
The same with Stroll, really. I mean, Stroll occasionally has a decent race when you compare him with Vettel. Like,
he doesn't use his mirror. He can't qualify. He has been qualifying. Has he qualified in Q2?
I don't think he has. Vettel,
Yeah.
has he? I don't want to commit too hard to that because anyone who's listening or comments somewhere will correct us. But
the feeling
Vettel-
is he's not qualified in Q2 at least. I think Vettel has.
yeah, he certainly hasn't been as consistent in qualifying as Vettel has. Although Vettel hasn't really been great, but we've kind of covered that. The car's not great, obviously. And in the race, he seems to get maybe a slightly better strategy.
Has got mirrors
Sometimes. Oh, yeah, there is that, obviously. But, yeah, he's Stroll, like, he occasionally has a good race, and you'll think, like, yeah, he is good enough to be in Formula 1 with that performance. But then, for every good race he has, like, probably 4 or 5 races where you're thinking, like, that's just... Yeah. That's not a wasted seat, but you know what I mean. Like that would be better. That seat would be better off given to another driver.
But that's one of the contracts
driver.
which says expiration date unknown.
Yeah,
I think that one still says, right? I mean, that's just. How
long do we think Aston Martin will stay in Formula 1? Now, this is going completely off topic now, but
no, I think they'll stay. I think they now have the potential to be up there now, right? I don't think that's much of an issue. I don't see the potential as the Alpine would have. But what's the difference between McLaren and Aston Martin, honestly?
Well, yeah, I suppose so. I guess
they should be fighting each other there.
They should be, yeah.
And occasionally they are, right? I think if you look at the current setup, I think like Alpine should be up a little bit higher.
Yeah, Alpine's
theoretically,
and I think Alpine really should be
fourth
fastest car in the group. Fifth.
Yeah, currently, of course, they can't beat Red Bull, Ferrari, nor Mercedes, but they should be clinging to those 3 teams. Honestly,
top 3 is locked in. So if we ignore the top 3,
Formula 1.5, they're on top.
Exactly
should be on top.
Yeah, and like I mean, Mercedes really is like Formula 1.25 at the moment, and McLaren.
I don't think so, though.
Well, they're getting there. They're definitely getting there.
Yeah.
I mean, Lewis has had 6 races on the podium in a row now, or is it 5?
Yeah, 2 in a row on the second stand. So
yeah, but Alpine and McLaren should probably be fighting for the 4th fastest car on the grid spot, and Alpine probably aren't quite there, are they?
Both neither have the drivers nor consistently in the car.
Yeah,
so that's a shame. I think Fernando can definitely bring some extra oomph to Aston Martin. I won't see them leaving anytime soon. I'm just afraid Alpine won't get that boost in teammate to Ocon. Ocon, who's been driving consistently but not outperforming anything, right?
Yeah.
He's just 8th, 7th, 9th, 10th, 7th, 8th, 9th. So that's it, right? Decent, but nothing funny.
Yeah, I think Ocon has the potential to be a bit like Sainz, I think.
Get him a good car, and once he has the
Yeah,
experience, and bring us an experience, and suddenly performs.
Yeah, I think he could be a better driver than he is, and I don't know how much of that is the car. But like we were just saying, you can't just blame the car if you're behind your teammate. Like you should be performing to the same level as your teammate in the same machinery.
Yeah. Although Ocon has been very much a bit luckier than Alonso has in races.
Yeah.
I mean, even the race where Alonso started second, they managed to give him such a poor strategy, he didn't even get a point in, right? So.
Yeah. What a blunder. Yeah, that's Ferrari levels of mistakes. So
yeah. If you're now like Alonso and you have to drive for Alpine this Friday, you get there on Wednesday evening, say hi to your soon-to-be ex-teammates. How's that going to be?
Well, I think as much as we've kind of joked about Alonso burning bridges, I think he's professional.
I think he is.
Yeah, I mean, he might have potentially screwed the team over a little bit, but at the same time, he's going to go out and do the best he can do with what he's been given, because he is just a natural racer. Like that's, as soon as he's in a car on a circuit, he's just going to go as fast as he can go, and he's not. I don't think he's going to be distracted by anything else. If anything, it might still be about trying to make a point, and that is that Alpine should have given him the contract that he wanted and kept him. See who's laughing next year, I guess. It depends on the state of Aston Martin. But
yeah, I'm not sure he's going to give his principal a hand when they join forces Wednesday evening.
No.
I'm not sure they even did, actually, if I'm honest. Looking at the replies already.
It seems like there's quite a bit of bad blood there.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Talking about Spa this weekend, and there's of course lots of updates. I've heard that everyone's bringing in the last upgrade packages for Spa, which means we'll probably see a lot of penalties this weekend as well.
Right.
I'm pretty sure we can bet on at least Ferrari taking penalties, and I can even imagine Red Bull taking penalties now.
Haven't we got that minor rule change kicking in this weekend as well? About the floor?
We have, I think, yeah.
Is that the...
although everyone says it's minor except Mercedes. So.
Oh, yeah. It's a big deal for Mercedes, yeah.
So I have no idea how... That's the thing, right? It's so much PR around it that you don't really know
well,
what's
that's the
going
problem,
on.
Yeah. Everyone's talking about it. You've got either people saying it's a massive deal or it's not much of a deal.
Remember last year when they had the Red Bull wings, so you can't really bend your back or your after wing anymore. So they fixed that, and they said we have to change that. Next week they changed the pit stops, and then Max won 3 in a row. Like, yeah. Well, if anything, I would guess the championship was over by then. Then he won 3 in a row. So, yeah, I think it's 3 in a row at least. At least it was a good stint. So it's like, you don't really know what this does because nobody's sitting still, and everyone could see this coming. I'm pretty sure Red Bull worked on the scenario B and Ferrari did as well. So
they will have done. I'm sure they will have done. And the only reason they're fighting for it is, they've found a loophole in the rules and they want to keep it because they have the advantage of it at the moment, don't they? Like,
fairly so, right?
If another team turns around and says, "Oh, we didn't do that," well, go and do it.
Yeah, and they usually would have, of course, but with the budget cap, it's not possible to keep doing it. I think that's the issue, of course. You wouldn't hear Mercedes complaining about this if they would have had the budget available to do so, right?
Yeah.
Like previous years, you would have not heard that.
The only thing I would say on this is that the whole point of these rules and what everyone was excited about was having like a really nice, tight fought championship and races being close. And if this helps bring things a little bit closer between teams, then I'm kind of okay with that because that was the point of the rules in the first place. Because I mean, a big part of the rule change was the fact that Mercedes had been running away for so long. They needed to fix that to some extent.
I mean, that's true, and I don't necessarily disagree with it. I always find it a little bit awkward when you change rules halfway through. I really hated the pit stop change last year as well, for example.
Yeah, changing it halfway through the season's not ideal.
Like you done your homework correctly, you found a loophole, you built toward it, and then suddenly, that's not really allowed. Yeah, but that wasn't in the rules.
Yeah.
So I find that's also a bit of a charm of Formula One, right?
Either way, somebody's got to spend money, haven't they? You've either got to spend money to adopt the technique, or whatever somebody else has done to work around a set of rules. All the people who have done that have got to spend money to but revert what they've done, or change to what everyone else is doing, if that makes sense. So
that's true.
But I think the budget cap to some extent is not a great idea anyway. I think teams being able to spend money is a good thing. I just think it would be better if they kind of split the money more evenly and all the teams had a bigger budget. Or not all the teams had a bigger budget, but the lower teams had a better budget.
It's a difficult setup, right? So Haas has more time to develop the car. They started off early. They got more wind tunnel time, and now they start off really well. They have a pretty cool car, but the budget's gone, so they can't really develop anymore. So from now on, you'll see them drop back even more, steadily below the other teams.
Well, that was the other thing, wasn't it? Where you finish in the championship determines how much wind tunnel time you get as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, which is, I think, pretty cool.
So that's a way of trying to allow the slower teams to catch back up or to slow down the faster teams. So, it just doesn't feel like it's quite working or quite worked.
The problem is it's not really transparent, the budget cap as well. So I don't necessarily dislike the whole budget cap stuff. But today, the news got published that Red Bull is making a new, complete monocoque again. Completely rebuilding the monocoque. Right. That means they have to deliver 3 of them, of the prototypes, for testing and crash tests and stuff. Yeah. And durability test. Which isn't 2 million, 2.5 million usually, something like that. They said. We don't know. Everyone's now is that... Can they still do that then? Do they still have? Where does it come from? When is it actually done? And that's the hard part. You don't have a stat sheet where it says, this team has 3% left or this team has 20% left, because we don't know and we can't check. And it's what does count, what doesn't count, what goes. There's discounts from your suppliers. So how does that go? I get it. It's a cool theory, but budget caps in any sport never really worked out. That makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. The transparency is the main issue, I think.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. But this week is going to be interesting, at least.
Yeah, and what loopholes are there in those rules as well? Because if there's one thing Formula One teams are good at, is finding loopholes.
It's also cool, right? Aston Martin bringing the new wing on Hungary. Nobody ever thought about pods. That's cool. Yeah, right? That's cool, though. Yeah. I think that's
very cool. Yeah, Haas did it, didn't they? They copied the Ferrari side pods at the last race.
If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I think that's part of the charm of.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what Formula One's always been about. It's it's innovation, and it's almost like a technology war, isn't it?
Yeah. So I don't mind that, but just work with tokens or anything. You want to change the side pod, that's 2 of your 10 tokens gone. Oh, it doesn't work. Too bad for you. Doesn't matter how much it costs.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's an easy way of doing it. But probably the smarter people than us have thought about this, James.
I'm sure, yeah.
Spa, so I'm expecting a lot of penalties. Any other expectations except a lot of rain?
I'm expecting more than 1 lap behind a safety car.
Or none.
That might be an unrealistic expectation, though.
It is expected to be raining, though.
Is it really?
Recording. Yeah, but of course we're still a week away, right? So
yeah,
we don't really know.
No, it's hard to predict the weather for Spa. I mean, they always joke about it in the commentary, at least in UK commentary, about how it's its own almost little microclimate because of it being in the hills. But it really does seem to be that way. I mean, you watch it on TV and you just see clouds forming in the distance and then just immediately just depositing on the track. It's like, how did that happen? But it does.
It's even in racing games, right? I play Gran Turismo 7 a lot, and then you're driving on Spa, it's like, and you see the weather radar, nothing on it. You turn around the corner, like, hey, it's getting dark. Turn around the next corner, it's like, oh, rain. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it can also go very fast there, and I think it's also part of the charm. But we've had a lot of rainy knee or under rainy pressure races this year, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's interesting as well. So we have a heat wave going on everywhere, except when the Formula One starts. Then suddenly we have rain, even in Hungary.
Yeah.
Still chance of race anyway. So I think that's I think it's also part of the charm. I really like it. It's a great equalizer. It keeps it exciting. But for Spa, I might not have it this year. I don't mind too much. I would just see if it's the last race for Spa, just make it like a dry race then.
Yeah, I think I prefer Spa in the dry because it's a pretty good
track.
Well, it's just a great track, yeah, and there are overtaking opportunities, and because it's such a long track, like any kind of other incident other than the weather, like double yellows or virtual safety car or safety car can actually have a pretty big impact on the race. So that makes the circuit interesting as well.
And it's just so fast.
Well, there's that, yeah. Eau Rouge will always be one of the best sets of corners in Formula One, I think. Like, you don't get that at any other circuit. Seeing a Formula One car do that.
No, and I like the last part of it as well, just before the last chicane, right? It's just floor it
flat out around that bend.
Just go for it, and then it's like then slow all the way down and then go again. I love that.
It's just a great circuit for showing off what a Formula One car can do, really. So
so I'm very curious. Talking about that though, predictions, top 3 for you. I don't want to go there though, but
I think Verstappen will win it.
I don't want to put pressure on it, but now I have to show the listeners and the people watching this that we do know something about Formula One.
Oh, do we?
No pressure.
Oh, I've just been blagging it until now. No, I think actually I've just said Verstappen will win it. I don't think Verstappen will win it. I think Leclerc will win it, just because it's a fast track and the Ferrari is a fast car. I think Ferrari will win it. I think with Leclerc. I think Verstappen will come second, and I think Sainz will come third. I think that's my top 3.
2 Ferraris on the podium.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sticking with that. That's my prediction.
I'll go for a Leclerc. No, I'll do something else because else we don't have anything to discuss next week or debate about, right? Let me put it like this. I think Max will win. I think Sainz will be second. And I think Lewis will come in third.
Really?
I'm afraid Leclerc's engine won't hold.
I don't see McLaren. I don't see Mercedes on the podium in Spa.
I don't see Perez on the podium either, and if Leclerc drops off, there's no one else to pick up the pieces. So.
Yeah, well, that's what makes predicting the podium so difficult. It's because Ferrari always blunder in some way or another, and that just frees up a spot for just a random person to pick up the pieces.
Exactly. So, but I'm thinking the consistency of Lewis makes him that random person.
Yeah, well, he's been on a great run. He's been on a really good run. But I don't see it. I think, you've got 2 Ferraris, 2 Red Bulls. They've that one way or another, that's going to fill up the podium, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm sticking with Leclerc.
It also depends on the penalties they take, though, because I think Ferrari is bound to take the penalties at least.
That is very true.
I could see the Red Bulls taking the penalties now as well, because if there's one track they can make up for it with the 4 of them. That will be Spa.
It is a great
Would
track.
they still be able to win it?
It's a great track to take a penalty just because it's so good for overtaking.
I'll change my opinion. Lewis is going to win the race.
I'd love it just because I want Lewis to maintain his victory in every season he's ever taken part in. But I don't see Lewis winning at Spa. No,
neither. Honestly, I'm more think about it, but I'm going to make that up. You said it there. I'm something.
I think if you're going to take penalties, I don't think Red Bull take 2 penalties. If
they'll take 1.
If Max takes a penalty, Perez is not going to. and Perez.
but he will fail qualifying then. So.
Well, potentially, but I mean, you've got 2 races for taking penalties in the left, haven't you? You got
now Spa, then you got Zandvoort, and then you got Monza. So you could either take it. Ferrari won't take it at Monza. There's no way anyone's going to take him at Zandvoort. So you either take him at Spa or you take him at Monza.
Yeah,
I think there's no way Ferrari takes it at Monza. So Ferrari will take it this weekend.
I was only thinking Spa or Monza as the 2 tracks personally. Yeah,
we got a deadly cycle coming up though. We got a triple header now.
Yeah,
we got 1 week off. We got another triple header, 1 week off, 2 a double, 1 week off, 2, and then we're done. So it's like an insane schedule as well. So.
Insane, yeah. I knew there was a triple header coming up. I didn't realize it was 1 week and then another triple header.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to change my prediction. I'm sticking to it, but I think there's a very high chance it's going to be wrong, just because I think if anyone's going to take a penalty in Monza in Spa, it'll be Max for Red Bull. But Max can get back onto the podium from.
Yeah, that's true. And he's shown in Hungary that even on a track which doesn't actually allow that, he would be able to. There's no There's no 2 triple headers. There's Spa, Zandvoort, and Monza. Then there's Singapore and Japan. Then there is US and Mexico. And then there's Brazil and Abu Dhabi.
Right.
But yeah, there's little time in between. So we got triple header, 2 weeks off, then a double, 1 week off, double, 1 week off, double, done. So
Spa has still a huge chance of safety cars as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, but that's true. Okay, Red Bull, and I think Red Bull's going to take the both penalties there, and Ferrari will take them as well. But Ferrari will drop back further because they'll have to take more. And we're going to have a pretty interesting race. And therefore, Lewis will just barely win it.
If all 4 cars take a penalty, that would be an amazing race.
They will, because Max will never take it at Zandvoort. Nobody will try to take it at Zandvoort. And Max will be bound to winning that for the first one. And I think the Red Bulls might actually just take it at Monza if they can, if they still hold on to that. Because they don't necessarily need to win at Monza. And Ferrari does. If there's one thing Ferrari does that have to do this year is at least win at Monza, right? Or not crash at Monza, at least.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see this weekend. One thing, James, because we'll be doing 2 things in this show, and one thing we'll always be doing is the one unpredictable thing you are predicting for this weekend.
1 lap behind a safety car, because they can't do that again.
All right.
No, do you want me to make a more serious prediction?
Make a serious prediction, which is something very unlikely, but might happen.
A serious, unpredictable prediction.
Yes.
Latifi Q3. If we have a wet qualifying, maybe he makes it into Q3.
He's done it before this year.
Exactly.
So why not?
I suppose it's not entirely unpredictable. Well, not unpredictable, but unlikely, because he has done it before. But it's, the chances are slim, I think. That's what I'm going with. Mine
would be that Alonso and Ocon take each other out.
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah, we need some spice. Alonso doesn't care anymore. Ocon thinks he owns the team. They have to move aside from him and they'll crash.
Yeah, and Ocon's been doing some pretty harsh defending against a teammate, which Alonso's spoken out about on the radio.
And he won't give a shit.
And I think, I think there's quite a high chance of that actually happening, because Alonso doesn't care.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's going to be amazing, though.
Oh, bottom of Eau Rouge. Side
Shove
by
now,
side.
each other.
And they just wipe each other out.
Nobody gets hurt, though.
No, obviously not.
No. That's an amazing prediction, though. James, last but not least, we're ending the show, and we are going to try to keep this up every single week.
Oh, God.
But on which food or beverage, Formula One related, you going to watch the race next week?
I'll have to have a Belgian beer, won't I?
That's also a good one. I was thinking, I'll go first, and maybe you have some little bit of time to think. I'll go for the Rosburger. which is actually the same hamburger as Lewis Hamilton burger, but it's served just a little bit faster.
Oh. Okay. All right, I'll give you that. Yeah, nice.
All right. You said last time I'm just going to get a stroll, right? When we talked about, you said it's stroll. That you can basically just get anything what Daddy's buying.
Oh, yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Oh, I have so much more though for the next episode. We're going to end on that though.
I'm gonna have to think of something better next time.
Yeah, but that's beautiful. We'll do a lot of more. We'll be back next week. But James, if people want to say hi to you, where or would they be able to say hi to you?
In not very
we don't
many
have
places.
any social media set up yet.
I'm not super active on social media. I got on Instagram, but it's private. I got Facebook, but I don't use it. I've got Twitter, and I don't use it.
No. So the best way of saying hi to James is go to your podcast service. You're listening to this. This will be available on all podcast services around the world. And of course, also on YouTube, and put it into the comment. Give us a 5-star review. Makes us easier to find and helps us grow. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you want to leave James or myself a message, just drop it there.
Yeah, if you want to disagree with anything we've said.
or agree. You can also agree with stuff. That's basically all good. Leave us your feedback as well, of course.
Or give me a virtual high five for the first memory.
Yeah. And let us know what you think about our predictions. Will you be back next week, James?
Yeah, I'll be back next week. They should leave their own predictions as well in the comments. That'd be good.
That would be really good, yeah. I'm curious how many people are going to put Lewis on the podium. And here you see, the first episode's been done. And it's been proven that a Dutchie and an Englishman can definitely get along. And even put Lewis Hamilton on the podium if needed. Well, we're still making sense and keep life going. Yeah, I'll give you this one, right? If it ever gets close again, I might retract some of these praise. But for now, I can get away with
this podcast if it was like last season.
That would be... Well, even then, though, we had civil discussions about it.
Yeah, we did.
Although you didn't, finish the last race. But we'll talk about that in a later
No, we can't talk about
that. No, I think we've closed that door for now.
Yeah.